I'm going to show how you can import your mass into Revit from Rhino now that we've exported it as a 3DM or a CAD file, and I'm going to show you the differences as to why you would export as one over another. So I'm in my file here, and this process is slightly different than I originally showed you in class because we're going to be creating a massing family first. And to do that, we're going to go to Massing and Site, and we are going to create an in-place mass. Sometimes Revit prompts you that your masses are turned off by default, and it will turn them on, so you can just hit OK on that prompt. And we're going to call this Mass 1. And what we're doing here is we're creating an in-place family, and we're tricking Revit into thinking what we're importing is a massing study. So what we're going to do in this family, now that we're editing it, we can go to Insert, Link CAD, and let's run it as a Rhino file first. And you can see I have my massing all export here. Make sure your layers and levels are specified so that we get this pop up. And we're only selecting if you've modeled directly in your site file and you've saved this as a new file with the site still existing. We just want the layers that we're exporting. So I'm going to hit OK here, and in that file I had deleted a version of the massing here. And then we're going to hit Finish Mass. So now you can see that if we select it or hover over it, it says this is a mass, it's Mass 1, and it has some visibility graphics options. So again, if we go to VV, we can see that in imports and families we have B and C. Now the downside of this using the 3DM file is that if I actually want to add a piece and I file save this and go back to Revit, go to Manage Links, if I reload this, and I just make sure that it's the layers that I want, it's not going to auto update, but it will update if you edit the family. So to get into a family, you're always going to double click. If it's an in-place family, it will stay in the 3D modeling environment. If it's not an in-place component, it will open up in another tab here because it's being essentially linked in. So this is the downside of using a 3DM file. It seems to not show the layers properly. So now that when I finish mass, you can see that it has updated properly, but there's just one extra step. So I'm going to show you another method, which is to go ahead and insert link CAD. Oh, sorry, we're actually going to go to Massing and Site, in place mass, do the whole process again. And here we're going to go to insert link CAD, and we're going to find the DWG export that we had. So let's see, A01 mass. We're going to specify the layers too. We just need the sublayers here, so I'm going to turn these off. And now you can see that they've imported here. If I finish mass, now I'm outside of the massing family. If I go back to Revit, I add this component. I select the elements I want to export, and I overwrite that file as a 2007 solids. Now if I go back into Revit and I go into Manage Links and I reload the CAD file, it will properly update without me having to go into the massing file. So those are the two ways of doing it. They'll both get you probably a very similar result, but if you're having problems with visibility in the future, you might want to take your mass and export it as a CAD and re-import it.